Good morning to
Woo, woo,
you, to
woo.
you, to you, to you. It's Curt and Jen in the morning podcast. Thank you for
Yeah.
listening.
Welcome to Wednesday. And so hump day, which I know is silly to say, but I still enjoy it. And oh shoot, I forgot. It's a flat hair day, no spikiness. That's okay.
Oh, I asked you if you needed to do your hair before we started recording, Curt.
Well, as you know, doing my hair is really not that involved. It's a lot of spit and then, this kind of stuff. So we'll just
Oh,
go with this. We'll just go with this look for today.
it's a good look.
Um,
It's a good look.
it's a good look.
Curt,
All
I
right.
saw a new Broadway show last night.
Oh yeah, tell me about that. I had not even heard of this one.
So I had dinner. I went to dinner in a show with a couple girlfriends, Lori and Mariana, and I
Okay.
tried a new restaurant. It's not a new restaurant, but it was new to me. It was called Rumba on, I think
Rumba?
it's on East Pike. Have you been there?
No, I've not even heard of it.
They have like it's called the inside passage within the restaurant. So it's kind of like, I mean, I don't know. I guess I would call it has a tiki bar vibe. So it's kind of like speakeasy because it's like inside the restaurant, kind of not really hidden, but we didn't go in that part. We ate in the main part. Anyway, then we went to the Paramount and saw the show Company, which has won a ton of awards on, like Tony's, I think. It's
Okay.
won but like some big awards. It was great. It was a fun show.
What is
Lots of
company about? I've
energy.
not even heard of company. I mean,
And
I'm
I
sorry.
hadn't either. So
Oh,
it's about this character. Originally it was written for a guy. The lead was a guy, but this our version had a gal in it. Bobby is her name, and she's turning 35, or she turned 35. It's her 35th birthday, and it's about like all her couple friends, right? And they're like, when do you get married? When do you get married? And the whole dilemma about, well, should I get married? Because do I want to have someone like always there and always like telling me what to do? It's like this whole story around why get married.
don't do a spoiler alert.
I'm not
So
going to.
right away, I was going to ask, does she end up getting married? But that's probably
I'm not going to tell you.
okay. I appreciate that. I got
It's
to
a good
stay
one. We're seeing it runs through Sunday, just so you know, in case you want to go see it because it is worth it.
at the Paramount. Yeah.
At the
Okay.
Paramount, yeah.
I stayed home, and you know that I do a lot of work with fundraisers and
Yeah.
nonprofits and stuff like that when they're doing their stuff. So let me know if you've got one coming up, by the way. But my wife was involved with this fundraiser last night in Bellevue. It was called Operation Water Rescue 425, and it involves the Bellevue Fire Department, the community of Bellevue and Medina. They were raising money. I didn't know about this, but they're raising money for the Bellevue Fire Department to get sea-doos, these special sea-doos equipped with like sonar. I mean, you know what I'm
Wait a
talking about,
second.
right? Please.
Can't the people in Medina and Bellevue just buy those things? Do they have to have a fundraiser?
I'm not gonna.
Keep going. That was rude. Go.
Well, apparently they've been waiting for like 20 years to get this equipment, and it helps them. Unfortunately, sometimes they have to do search and rescue, or sometimes they have to do a recovery or whatever the case may be. But apparently, right now, if somebody is drowning in those areas, they have to call in somebody from, I don't know, Seattle or something. And it takes about 20 minutes to get there and help. And now this is going to help with water rescues and recovery efforts too when they have lost somebody. So, and they raised, a good amount of money.
Like a crap ton.
$750,000. So I don't know how much for well,
$150,000.
these
Oh my
sea-doos.
God.
These are well, you're dating a firefighter. These are special super duper sea-doos, I guess. But anyway, so it went well. The thing is that Dana texted me. She was like, oh my God, we're in Medina. This is a private home. And it's the Bacon Foundation is what they call it. But she's like, we're right by the dinosaur house. Do you know the dinosaur house?
No. What's a dinosaur house?
This is something when I'm taking people out in the boat for the first time, it's like, oh, I got to go see the dinosaur house. And I'm sure this guy loves it. There is a Microsoft, one of the original Microsoft people. I don't know, I don't recognize the name. I'm not going to even say it, but one of these people that was in Microsoft from the beginning, and they've retired now with a bunch of money. So he used some of his Microsoft millions to fund a dinosaur bone digging foundation, and they dug up and he put together this entire life-size actual T-Rex skeleton
From bones that people dug up from someplace?
from his little dinosaur bone digging foundation. So like when you go into a museum, you walk in there, maybe you see, hey, there's a T-Rex. This thing is in essentially his living room. So and there's a massive round a bunch of windows, floor to ceiling windows. You can see this thing from the water. Next time we go
How,
out, I'll take you by it.
how did you figure out that he was a Microsoft? Like, how did you find out this information?
Well, I read up on all you Google Dinosaur House, Lake Washington, and there it was.
Okay, I will do that. I want,
Yeah,
yeah, next time we go out, when we go out
it's
for
pretty
duck
cool.
dodge, we can do a little.
Yes, it's in a little cove there. I think it's called Cave. I should know it, but anyway.
Okay.
So she's like, it's right by the dinosaur house, and she was super excited. It wasn't quite in the dinosaur Medina Cove. Anyway, so
Speaking
that was
of
last night.
Speaking of Dana,
Oh
yesterday
yeah,
after we were done recording the show, Dana has these decks of cards, and it seems super woo-woo, but it's not. Like it's just, my friend Lori, I found out she does this too. She's like, Dana and I have a lot in common because they're both super into health and health coaching and
right. Well,
and
this is a
oracle cards.
Oracle cards, right? This is they're basically daily affirmation cards is what they are, And so you pick a card and people are like, "Oh, it's like tarot." Yeah, kinda. But you choose a card like we did yesterday, and then there is a story or a reason or a what would you call it? The card tells you, "Hey,
The cards
this is
basically are supposed to tell you what you need. It works with the universe to tell you what you need.
right." So
So
like the card you picked yesterday had to do with a
no, I
companionship?
will tell you. Well, first of all, I want to just mention that you draw one at a time. We each drew a card and you put the card back in the deck after Dina tells you what it's about. I drew Aphrodite. She read
Hmm.
the thing, and then you drew the same freaking card.
Yeah, there's only one there, and it's probably a deck of, I don't know, 60, 70 cards.
And then
And
you did the same thing like the day before when you guys
that's
did
true. When
that,
we
when you
were
were San
coming back from San
Diego.
Diego, we picked cards. So we each got Aphrodite, which in and of itself, the fact that we both picked the same card is pretty weird and or rare. But
But also, Dana was saying, because you're like, you already read that one, I got it. And she's like, no, no, I'm going to read it again, Curt, because you might receive the message different than Jen. And for me, I will tell you what, that card was spot on. So I'm going to give you a little peek into my world and be a little vulnerable here. But I have been struggling with like confidence and my self-esteem and receiving love. Like Kurt, you and I talked about this. Both of us have a hard time when people like give us a compliment or whatever. It's like, what are you going to say? Like, you suck, Jen. Like these are just words and they don't like go into my heart and fill it, right? I'm just
right,
like, I don't even know. Like there's this wall or whatever.
right.
So
Or when people give a compliment, you're like, yeah, right, whatever. I mean,
yeah.
that's what we do.
So, but I've been really struggling with that lately, and especially the past couple days, like really, Pat and I've had a couple conversations around it. So it was just, it was weird that that one came
Yeah.
up because the whole description was, let this goddess of love, heal the wounds so that you can receive love and, you believe in yourself. And anyway, it was good. It's
Well,
good.
before we get too otherworldly, I know people like going, "Oh, tarot cards and astrology and stuff." I honestly, I think it's fun and it gives you I suppose for whatever day it is when you pick the card, it gives you, I don't want to say a purpose, but it's like, hey, be aware of this and look for these things happening in your world, and often it does kind of hit home. So I think it's, if nothing else, it's fun and it does seem like you said, it seems to be spot on sometimes. Like this is just what I needed today.
I
Thank
think
you.
most of the time it is, if you
Yeah,
really have your mind open to what is happening and the
yeah,
cards you pick. Yeah, it was
it
awesome.
was
Anyway, I
great.
wanted to mention that because it was very like I needed to hear that message so that I could be more mindful about, you know what, Jen, you're worthy, you're enough, all the things
You're
that
enough.
but
That's the
sometimes it's hard. And especially, when you don't have a job and you don't feel good about where you are weight wise and all the things. So
that's the phrase right there. You're enough,
yeah.
maybe
That was
you're
on the
Ken
card.
enough.
I think that was on the card. Yeah, anyway, it was good.
So, yeah, we're gonna do that every day after the show. How's that sound? We'll pick a card.
Be fun. Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
I can't
Um,
believe this news that you put on here. Like, what is
yeah,
going on?
we stay away from the Hollywood gossip for the most part because that's the end of that. But this is not terribly surprising. Wheel of Fortune, Vanna White, obviously Pat Sajak left Wheel of Fortune after 41 seasons back in June, and they have hired Ryan Seacrest, who does everything.
Have you seen it yet?
Everything.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it since he started hosting.
I didn't even know if it had started yet, but apparently Vanna is already considering leaving the game show because she just, quote, doesn't jibe with Ryan. Now, the good news is that Vanna was able to negotiate a salary increase after Pat Sajak left, which I guess is good, although she probably should have had the salary increase a long time ago. So she's locked into contract until 2025 to 26. Vanna is retiring from the show then when her contract ends, they say, but there is a part of her that wants to walk away sooner.
I wonder why
Hmm.
they don't like, I don't know.
Seacrest, I call him by his last name because I mean, he started out as a DJ just like the rest of us. I mean, he was just one of us. I think it takes a certain kind to really get that guy. I mean, uh somebody told me once he's got a punchable face, which I was like, well, that's not very nice, but but then I thought about it. I was like, well, maybe he does have I hope I don't have a punchable face. Who knows? So the quote is,
Awful.
Vanna doesn't jive with Ryan like she did with Pat, and no one really ever expected her to. There's just no way that she possibly could after all those years. However, I mean,
Change is
Seacrest is
hard.
Seacrest, so we'll
Change
see
is
what
hard,
happens.
especially after 41 years.
Hmm.
Anyway, okay.
On to, well, this is more entertainment news, I guess.
But ridiculous, like, okay, Celine Dion
Yeah,
will make $2 million for one song when she performs on Friday during the Olympics opening ceremony.
one song,
$2
and she gets
million.
$2 million because yeah, they tend to spend a little bit of cash on the Olympics every 4 years, I guess. And good for her. You know what? If you can negotiate that, fantastic. I wonder if she wrote. Do we know if she wrote a special song for the Olympics, or is she going to do "My Heart Will Go On" or whatever?
Oh, you know what? I don't know. I don't know. They're also
Well,
footing the bill for all the travel and accommodations for Celine and her family, which they should do. I mean, that should absolutely be a part of it.
right. While they're saying the sources are saying it's a ridiculous amount of money. This is Celine's first performance. She stepped away from the stage in 2022. She was diagnosed with that stiff person syndrome, which
It's
sounds
painful to
terrible.
watch. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean it's like, ugh.
Yeah. So hopefully she's dealing with that okay. But in non-stiff person syndrome news, Snoop Dogg, he uses other things to medicate himself. He is heading to Paris as well. He's going to carry the Olympic torch. He's the
I mean,
second to last torchbearer. There's no word on who he'll hand it off to.
why did they choose Snoop Dogg of all people? That makes me laugh.
I, I, I don't know. Maybe there was a donation involved or something. That doesn't sound right.
Is he from France? I mean, like, what is it? I
No, he's
don't even
not from
understand.
France. He's
Oh,
from.
maybe you have to pay for it. Maybe you pay lots of dollars to
Hmm.
fund the performance. You pay to carry the torch, and that helps fund
It's
the performance. I'm making
what's
stuff up. I don't know.
well. It seems to me if you're the second to last, I mean, the last torchbearer is like a big deal. I
Because you
think.
light it. The last one
Yeah,
does the last one, or do they pass it off one more time to light to the person that lights it? I don't know. Anyway,
I don't
I
know.
think
It's
it's
a, it's a big
interesting that
deal,
Snoop
and Snoop
Dogg.
Dogg will be there, and so
Yeah.
he's bringing the joy to Paris.
I
Big
think it
show.
was Monday that we talked about how into Jennifer Gardner you are. Is this one of your other people that you love so much? Jennifer
I have to be
Lopez?
careful here because I love everybody equally,
Yes,
but
J
my
Lo.
my hall pass list does not include Jennifer Lopez, but
Oh,
she
it
is
does.
55 years old today.
She looks beautiful.
And I do not disagree, and she's certainly in fantastic shape for any age, but she's 55. I just don't get. I mean, she and Ben Affleck are in the news again because they're having struggles in their marriage. It's like their entire relationship has been a struggle. And then, so they were together and then they were engaged a long time ago, not engaged and engaged again. And they called it off completely. And of course, she went and married somebody else and he married Jennifer Garner. And so then all this, so we're going over, decades here. So they both ended up divorced, and now Jennifer Lopez, J Lo, and Ben Affleck got back together. They got married, and already, well, he was seen not wearing his ring, partying by himself, and there's trouble in the relationship. And
No, all right.
one
I'm
of them
rooting
moved out of
for
the house
them.
or something. I don't know, but
Happy birthday, J Lo. You're 55. Way to go.
yeah,
You
it seems
look
like they're treating
fantastic.
marriage kind of like a joke. But
I hope I
whatever.
age like you. I better start working out and sleeping more.
I'm already past that. So here's some good news. This is the industries with the happiest employees. Now, you're not going to guess. We're going to hold off on what the happiest employees are, or
Okay.
the very happiest employees. This is a new report. Happiest Industries analyze things at work, like work culture and values, diversity, inclusion, work-life balance, money, career opportunities, management, stuff like that. So they put all that together and analyze those things, and they determined the happiest employees, the industry of the happy employees. So there were, I guess they only looked at 10 industries, so that kind of does narrow it down a bit from the start. Um, they have people that are happy in healthcare, in tech, and manufacturing, and accounting and taxes. That was second happiest people are accountants, I guess.
Really? That
Yeah,
surprises me actually.
me too. But the first was does the top happiest employees surprise you?
Industry, in the industry, right? Like the
Yeah,
happiest industry.
construction.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder if it's why, like, I think that they get paid pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
It's in pretty high demand,
Mm-hmm.
and
I
you
think it'd be
work early and get off in the like you start early and then you get off work and then you have the day,
right.
right?
Work-life balance is a big part of it, I suppose. It always seems to me that all those people on the construction sites are all talking and, I mean, what they're working at the same time too. But it seems like I kind of think like it'd be a fun job to do. It's hard,
Maybe we should
but
do that,
it seems like
Kurt.
I should do that.
We could all both get into construction and be super
Yeah, we're gonna
happy.
show up. Oh, give me a hammer or something. I know that, and I know a screwdriver.
I mean, I've learned a thing or two from Project Pat, hot
Yes, your
firefighter
boyfriend.
boyfriend Pat, also known as Project Pat. I've learned a thing or
Right.
two. Maybe I could do construction.
So if you're a construction worker or you're somehow working in construction and you're unhappy, you're doing it wrong, right?
I guess. What were the unhappiest? What were the what ranked lowest for happiness on
Some of the lowest for happiest employees as far as the industries go, retail and commerce, legal, tourism, transport and logistics, and hospitality.
Oh my God. I know people in all those industries.
Yeah.
I wonder if our
Hospitality, you
friend,
have to be in a good mood.
I
Maybe they
wonder
have to
if,
fake it.
yeah, I wonder if our friend Brian, who's a lawyer, if he's happy because legal's one of the lowest on happiness scales.
Yes. Of the 10 industries they looked at. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So, this week or yeah, this weekend, I guess, life imitated art, which is why the viewership of the HBO show Veep, starring Julia Louis Dreyfus as the vice
Julia Louis
president,
Dreyfus.
way up. The show Veep.
Right. She
Have you
plays the
seen it?
vice
I have not
president.
seen it. It's supposed to be a fantastic show.
Right. Julia Louis Dreyfus is the vice president in VEEP.
But
That's the
there's
deal
a
of the show.
scene in that show, and that clip is going bananas right now because it's all over social media where she finds out that the president is not going to seek re-election and that now she's going to be the candidate. And it's like it's funny if you can go, you'll be able to find the scene if you Google it. And Kurt
And
and
you
I
have
were
to wonder
watching
if
it.
that's
It's
what,
like, and
yeah.
we're like, this is probably exactly what happened.
Yeah, that's how Kamala is feeling. It's like, I mean, on the
Oh,
up
yeah,
front, they're like, I'm looking forward to being the nominee, and
and her
behind the scenes,
team,
they're like,
yeah, and her
oh
team's
my god,
like,
oh
we're
my
gonna
god,
make
oh
history. We're gonna make history right now. You're gonna be the first female
my
president.
god. Yeah, I am going to look that up. I've unfortunately, like you said, I've never seen the show Veep, and it is supposed to be fantastic. So,
It's won awards for it for sure.
who is Flashlight Man?
Oh my gosh. I was on the phone last night with Pat. He's working on his property, and I guess this has happened before, but this is the first time he's told me. He's like, I have a passive aggressive neighbor. I'm like, what are you talking about? So I have named him Flashlight Man because here's the deal. Pat was out last night on his tractor clearing property, and he was out until 9:30. But in that 9 o'clock start of the 9 o'clock hour, he starts seeing this flash of light from across the street. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, this guy will just start flashing his light, like blinking his flashlight at me, like flashing it all around. Like I said, but why? He's like, I think he wants me to shut up. Like he wants me to shut off my tractor. I'm like, when's quiet hours? Like, what are you supposed to? And he said, I've looked that up and I think it's 10 p.m. But he said, then I was digging deeper and I saw something about sunset. He's like, but that doesn't make sense because in the winter, sunset's at 5, and I'm not going to quit
Right.
at 5 o'clock.
I mean, I don't know anything about this, but it seems 10 o'clock seems that kind of late for, they've got those rules like you can't start doing construction work until at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning because people are still sleeping. So I have no proof, but 10 seems kind of late to me, but
But
still.
here's the thing. Okay, don't flash your light, flashlight, man. Be an adult and walk over and have an actual freaking conversation with him and say, even if let's just say that the curfew for power tools or big heavy operating equipment is 10 p.m., right? And Pat's well within the boundaries of this, right?
Mhm.
But maybe he gets up at 3 in the morning for a job. We'll just talk about that. Hey man, this is my situation. Is there any way we can work something out? Like, just communicate.
Yeah, passive aggressive is no way to go.
He flashes his freaking light at him. God.
Wow. That's kind of like banging on the ceiling if the people upstairs are making too much noise. It's like, go and address the thing.
All right, Curt, what you had you want to talk about sleep again, and that maybe the fact that we get not enough of it.
Yeah, which is sad because we don't really have outside of doing this, we don't really have any reason to get up early or, but you go to bed too late as it is because
I
you're
do.
a social girl. They have the generations that get the most and least sleep. Um,
Who is
well,
it? Tell
do you have
me.
an idea off the top? Right, if I start thinking about it, don't say anything, but a new survey. Um, First of all,
I
it found out that 3/4 of Americans total get between 6 and 8 hours of sleep per night, which is what they recommend. Although, didn't we see nine?
Yeah, some recommend and some recommend 8 to 9.
Nine. So
Okay.
3/4 of Americans get between 6 and 8 hours of sleep per night. Breaking
Okay.
it down, millennials get the most sleep.
Not surprising. Although I would have
That
thought boomers got the most sleep right now, at least for right now.
well, we'll get to that. So eight
Okay.
and 10 millennials say that they're getting 6 or more hours of sleep a night.
Okay.
The least amount of sleep, 5 hours or fewer, that's what Gen X gets. The least. That's you and me,
That's
Jen.
us.
Only 20%, I'm sorry, 20% of Gen X's sleep 5 hours or fewer, which, and millennials getting, see now the joke here, of course, I would make millennials get the most sleep, Gen X gets the least. That's because Gen Xers are getting up and going to jobs.
Kurt,
I
I'm in that 20% of getting 5 hours or less, and I
know.
need to fix it. Like, seriously, I was talking to my friend Lori on the way to the theater last night, and she was
Hmm.
talking about her let's really hit home for me. She was talking about she studies like health. She's a health coach, Lori is. So she knows a
Hmm.
lot of things, and I'm really learning a lot from her, and I love it so much. But she was talking about how her mother-in-law had passed away of cancer, I think it was bladder and kidney cancer, maybe. I'm like, oh
Hmm.
my God, and they have no idea why she got it. And she's like, no, not they don't, because a lot of times you don't know what causes cancer. And she's like, but I can say that she never was a good sleeper. Like she hardly got any sleep and she didn't have a good like a really strong social circle, which is important, like having being socially connected. We've talked about this many times before,
Right.
but
Right.
sleep is key. It ruins your body if you don't let it repair, and I need to be better.
Well, and the other thing is like, yeah, even
Ugh.
if you do get, let's just say for the sake of argument, you get 8 hours of sleep. Is it quality sleep? Because this is another question was, how's the quality of your sleep? Millennials also say that their sleep quality is better than any other generation. So half of millennials say, yeah, I've got good sleep. Gen X again gets the worst sleep. About a third said their sleep is poor. And I wonder if that's just because, I mean, and this is a big deal with me as well. For some reason, I mean, in simple terms, sometimes it's hard to turn off your brain, right? You
Yeah.
just go in and go in and go and think, what I got to do tomorrow? What about the stuff that happened today? And and growing up, I never once heard, what, you need to get good sleep. It wasn't a thing. I guess it was just assumed in the 70s and 80s that, oh yeah, people get
What?
good sleep. I
Wait,
don't
okay,
know.
so wait, why are they saying that we get bad sleep as Gen Xers? Do they
It's
do they have
Gen X gets the worst sleep at 27%. So about a third said that their sleep is poor. It doesn't say why or anything like
I
that.
wonder I'm gonna talk to Lori
Oh,
about
you
that.
know what? Actually, here's something. Boomers and Gen X, the biggest thing that's keeping them awake, the biggest disruptor of sleep is back pain. That's for boomers and Gen X. I'm sorry. And for Gen Z, look at so we have problems with back pain, and that's why we are having trouble sleeping. Gen Zers, the biggest disruptor is social media. God.
Other health conditions that keep people up includes insomnia, anxiety, and sleep apnea.
Yeah. So get that good sleep if you can.
There's a book that Lori recommended that I read. Well, she recommends that everyone reads. It's called Breathe. I forget who it's
Green.
by, but she
Okay.
said if anyone, all of her clients, she starts them off with that book. So I'm on,
Okay.
it's on reserve for the audio version at the library. I'm waiting for Bothell Library to get back to me.
Oh,
I'm in
look
a
at you
long
going to the
waiting
library.
list.
Good for you.
Thanks.
Now,
Are you ready for
we're,
Halloween, Curt?
I was going to say, we're not even into August yet. We're just about through July,
I
and
want to know if you're ready for
Costco.
Halloween.
You know what? I love Halloween, so I'm always ready for it. In fact, I think that Halloween would be fun if it was like every month on the 31st or the 30th.
Here's the deal. Costco had their decorations up and available to purchase last month. I mean, I was like,
Yes.
are you freaking kidding me right now? Can we
So
please just enjoy summer? No, we
in
cannot.
June, this is June that Costco already has their Halloween
And
decorations up.
now candy's out already. Reese's peanut butter pumpkins have arrived 3 months before Halloween. It's the earliest that Hershey's ever put them out, but you can't buy them in stores. You can buy them, I think, online on their website. They're selling bags of them for $25. But people like these more than Reese's peanut butter cups because of the chocolate peanut butter ratio. And I 100% agree with this. What
Have you
about
ever
you?
I agree completely, but I would take it a step further. Have you ever had my dad makes those treats called Buckeyes?
Yes.
That is, in my opinion, the best peanut butter to chocolate ratio. And if you know what we're talking about, it's a Buckeyes. The seeds for the Buckeye tree look like they have a look. It's mostly like a dark brown with a light brown or yellow dot on the top. So you make these treats, which is basically a peanut butter ball covered mostly in chocolate with a little bit of the peanut butter showing through. So it looks like a Buckeye seed. And they are phenomenal. At least the ones my dad makes are phenomenal. So yes, it is all about the peanut butter to chocolate ratio, which without doing any actual science or math, I'm going to say the ratio should be 10 parts peanut butter to 1 part chocolate.
You think that that should be the ratio, or that is the ratio?
No, I have no idea, but I mean, if I had to say, that would be good to me.
I
Yeah.
seriously like the pumpkins better than I like the Reese's peanut butter cups because the Reese's peanut butter cups has too much chocolate and it's too thick. Like it's too thick and like,
There you go. There you go.
yeah.
It's the peanut butter to chocolate
But
ratio.
here's the situation, Curt. You mentioned your dad's Buckeyes, and yet you've been to Florida and Buckeyes have not come back with you.
My dad listens to, go ahead. My dad listens to the podcast. Go ahead and make your plea to Jay Cruz.
Mr. Cruz, can you please make some Buckeyes? I know Curt is coming your way in a couple weeks?
Couple weeks, yeah.
In a couple weeks, can you please send some Buckeyes home so I can have a couple?
For
Thank you.
Jen.
Please and thank
And
you.
not just a couple, a whole batch. I guess a batch is a technical term,
Well,
right?
because you want some too, Curt.
They're so good.
Okay.
Thanks in advance, Dad.
Anyway, Halloween is even though it's 3 months away, it's upon us because the stores they're doing their
Mhm.
thing.
That is a way. And I mean, I haven't kept track of how much in advance, and of course we get surprised with the Christmas holiday stuff as well, where they're yeah, like, when does that pop up in Costco in September? I don't know.
Can I
Plenty of
just
time.
also mention this ridiculousness that
Please.
Hershey's in the middle of a big class action lawsuit because this is over the pumpkins. Because in May, 4 people sued in federal court accusing them of misleading customers because the pumpkins don't really have faces and the packaging shows them as jack-o'-lanterns, but they're blank chocolate on top. And the people behind the claim said that they were very disappointed by this, so they are seeking $5 million in damages. Are you freaking kidding me right now?
Misleading customers because the picture on the package. Well, that is kind of dumb. I'm going to be honest with you. Why would you not put a picture of the actual thing on the package?
Maybe it's just decoration for crying out loud.
Don't
And
get me
who
wrong.
cares?
I think it's a very frivolous suit. Don't get me wrong. I agree with you that this is silly. And and if they actually for some reason are possibly win this suit, that means that everybody in the world who ever had these Hershey's pumpkins is going to get 72 cents in a little check or something like that.
It's just the biggest bunch of bologna slices ever.
All
Anyway,
right, one more thing. Let's
yes,
do the because you have a new driver in your household, your 15-year-old Macy.
Macy, who's
You came up
already
with
hit a
this.
car.
Oh, that's
Did I
right.
tell you that?
Yes, and I think you all know when your kids go out to drive. I mean, of course I hit a car when I was 16 or whatever, where you're dumb. But these are the 5 most common mistakes that new drivers make. Go, Jen.
Okay, not paying close enough attention in traffic. Like they're not I have to constantly tell her it's not just the person in front of you, it's like you got to look at everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got to look at
Yes.
everything. Not
Right.
checking the blind spots, although I will say that Macy's really good at checking blind spots, especially now
Right.
after she backed up and well, that's not a blind spot. She wasn't looking when she was backing up. Rolling through stop signs, like they're just
Mm-hmm.
missing it. They're supposed to stop before the white line and then they like maybe stop too close.
That's right.
Macy does opposite that. She stops like, I don't know, at least a car probably more than a car length before the white line. And Pat was in the front seat the other day and he's like, you got to work on getting up at that line.
So you know what? I didn't know that. I mean, you obviously have to stop at stop signs, and there is the white line there. But I just, I didn't know it was an actual law. I thought, okay, well, I will stop before the white line because that seems like that's where people are going to cross the street. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I didn't know you could get busted for that. What about does she have a problem with tailgating?
No, but I didn't. I do.
This I know.
I'm
This I
like,
know.
if you're in the fast lane and you're going slow, you're supposed to leave at least 3 seconds space between you and the car in front of you. All
Hmm.
right. Especially and probably more if it's raining, even more. It is even
Right.
more if
So you
it's
pick out
raining.
something on the side of the road, maybe a pillar, and they go past that pillar, and you're like 1001, 1002, 1003. Now, if you're Jen, the person in front of you go past the pillar, and you go 1000, and that's it.
Yeah.
So don't do that.
I'll try not to. And then the last one is signaling too late or too early. And that just like the general rule is 100 feet before you turn. But if
Hmm.
you're like signaling too early,
Yep.
people might think you're turning, so they're going to pull in front of you. Don't
Yeah.
just wait. You know, the other thing I have to tell Macy that's super sad, and she saw this in action the other day, is even though the light turns green and you're at the front of the line, don't go right on green. Just give it a hot second because
Yep.
so many people are running red lights. And it was a blatant red light that someone was running, and it was her turn. And thankfully,
Right.
yeah.
Unfortunately, I think in our heads we all like go, okay, well, I know that when my light turns red, there's going to be a second before the opposite or the new traffic gets green, so I can go through this. But sometimes that's not the case, you know. And I was never bad about that, but I think that I've mellowed. Um, and you and I talked about this. It's like I just don't want to get my I'm not going to let somebody else get my blood pressure up or get me angry. I just usually give a smart ass way and say, "Hey, thanks a lot." You
I
know,
know. That's the other thing is be polite and just say thank you if someone like lets you in or
right,
just be polite. Just raising your hand a little just to give a little gesture. It takes zero effort, really. I mean,
right. Well, but
just be
that hand wave I
polite.
was talking about was a smart alecky one, but I do, yeah.
Oh, I
Well,
do smart alecky ones when people don't thank me. I'm like, you're welcome. You're welcome. I want a big you're welcome
exactly.
sign on my
I
car.
have you ever thought, you know, it's like I want to take that merge back. I let you merge. I was very kind, and
Often
you
I
did
do, Curt.
some sort of dick move, and you went over like that. So can I please have my merge back? I don't want to do that again. I
Yeah.
don't want to be that polite to you.
Yeah. Curt, you just bought during I think during the Amazon Prime days,
Yep.
you and Dana, your beautiful wife Dana, bought finally a Roomba, right? One of the robot vacuum cleaners.
It's yeah, yes, it's not. I don't think it's actually a Roomba. I'm not sure
But
which
it's a
one she got,
robot
but yeah,
vacuum cleaner. It's one of the
exactly. And
ones that
this
will
one
vacuum
actually
for you.
is supposedly also supposed to do tile floors, like mopping or some version of
Ooh,
that.
you got the fancy bougie version.
It doesn't seem like it's fancy bougie, but okay.
Okay. The question is, did you name it? Have you named your vacuum, your robot vacuum?
Well, in fact, it just got here yesterday, and we've not opened the box yet because Dana
Okay.
was gone doing her last night thing.
Well,
So
the
we've
answer
not.
is no, but are you
The answer
going
is
to?
no. I had not considered that. Do you have a name for your robot vacuum?
I do, but it was super like I was being like ultra creative when I named it
What
Dusty.
would you name it? Like Cleany or
Dusty for crying out loud.
Dusty?
I should have been more clever. But people do name their robot vacuums. So we want to know what clever names have you come up with? Maybe you'll spark some creativity in Kurt's head about what to
Hmm.
name his vacuum. Or really, if you've named anything in your house, like what have you named and what's the name that you gave it? Because
Okay, I
Kurt, you
like
told
it.
me a while ago, I did not know you could rename your smart speaker.
Yeah, but that's a little bit different. Yeah, but you don't, the wake word options for, and I'm going to say one that's going to make this thing go. I do not understand what you said, but you don't have to use Alexa. You can also use, I believe there's three other ones. Your wake word can be Ziggy or Echo or computer or
Oh, you
Alexa.
can't just okay. So I thought when you told me that you could rename your Alexa or your smart speaker, that
That you
you
could
could
call
name
it
it
Steve.
anything you wanted, but you have a choice. It's only four choices.
Yeah, so far it is only four choices. But I want to get back to the vacuum cleaner thing. It's funny that you mentioned that because this just struck me. The going back to the movie Mr. Mom with Michael Keaton and Terry Gard. Remember that
Yeah.
one?
Yes.
They just had a regular old, ancient looking upright vacuum, and they called it Jaws. So
Okay, that's a good
that
one.
was their
Okay,
name.
so
So
we
all
want
right,
to
so
know if you've named an appliance or whatever, something you use in your home. What is it?
right,
What did you name? And what's the name?
right.
And
The robot vacuum makes sense because it's a robot, so it's almost you feel like it's almost a human. But yeah, I think that people have names, and you have names for your car, right?
yep, that's right. So, okay,
So,
so we will post that on Facebook. We want your answers, please. In the
mhm.
meantime, you have an awesome, awesome day. Make
Awesome, awesome.
make good choices, find joy, and spread kindness.